What is up, ICP Squad, Coin Hustle community? Good morning and welcome to our very special show today. Today's special host, Andrew, as we discuss the new craze going on. What is CK Bitcoin, chain key Bitcoin? And no, it's not a keychain Bitcoin that you carry with you. What are the new...
That'd be cool.
That would be very cool. Actually, there's one project coming out that. So what is that? What does it mean? What does it mean for the ICP Squad community? What is it going to be used for? So let's go ahead. I'm going to wait a couple of seconds. Also, let Andrew introduce himself for those of you that don't know who he is. And before we continue, I'm also going to ask everybody, please hit that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as to our newsletter at coinhustle.com, and leave us a comment. I'm going to be reading all the questions. I have my phone right here. I'm looking at it. If you see me on my phone, I'm not distracted. I'm reading your questions, and Andrew will try his best to answer all of the questions. So Andrew, without further ado, can you introduce yourself to us and kind of let us know about CK Bitcoin?
Sure thing. Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew, and I work as a developer relations engineer at Dfinity. But nowadays, I mostly focus on creating content for the website, that is theintercomputer.org, and creating videos and all kinds of educational stuff. So I guess we can say it's kind of part of my job to be here and talk about ckBTC. And this month is kind of the month of ckBTC, so I'm super excited to have the community riled behind it, because I think it's really cool technology, and the computer really did something that is special. So before I really dive into ckBTC, I think we can go just one step back and talk about what Bitcoin integration is, or what this native integration with the Bitcoin network is on the computer. And just for a few words, it's so the computer, or ICP, integrated with Bitcoin natively. And natively means that ICP can create Bitcoin transactions without using any bridge. So whenever you have a native Bitcoin transaction initiated by a Canister smart contract, then the transaction actually goes through the Bitcoin network, and it gets picked up by Bitcoin miners and stored by the Bitcoin nodes. So yes, this is the short summary of Bitcoin, the native Bitcoin integration, and onto chain key Bitcoin, or ckBTC, which is basically our version, or the computer solution to the problem of Bitcoin transaction fees and speed, and also the fact that Bitcoin doesn't support any kind of smart contract functionality, so it's very limited what it can do. You can transact between different wallets, but you can't really do interesting things that now we have come to expect with more complex blockchains like Ethereum and others. So the way this works is you have a canister smart contract, we call it the ckBTC canister, and if you send Bitcoin to this ckBTC canister, then it will issue you ckBTC, and it is, because it's not done by a central entity, it is always guaranteed cryptographically that you will have a one-to-one backing between real Bitcoin and the ckBTC that you now hold. But then why should you even have the ckBTC? It is in a computer native token, so that it'll have significantly lower, orders of magnitude lower transaction fees, and orders of magnitude higher throughput, or like the number of transactions that you can do using ckBTC are orders of magnitude higher than you could do with just regular Bitcoin. And also because you now have proper speed and incredibly low cost, then an ocean of use cases open up that were not possible before. So you could use basically Bitcoin to tip someone just a few cents or a few dollars on a social media platform, or you can have small amounts of ckBTC given out as a reward if you play a game on the computer, like some metaverse game, NFT game, or any other. And this opens up a whole interesting aspect of the computer, that is having Bitcoin move around the computer while having a cryptographically provable one-to-one backing. Because the thing that the computer does differently than any other chain is that you have a smart contract that does the wrapping. So there is no central entity or bridge that will do this wrapping for you, which can introduces another layer of trust, that you have to trust the central entity. And we've seen what happens with, in some cases, this entity often gets hacked. Like last year, there were, I think, more than $2 billion stolen just because of bridge hacks. And we saw what happened with FTX after FTX collapsed. They no longer had the backing for Solana's wrapped version of Bitcoin, which is a problem. So now, if you look at Solana's wrapped Bitcoin, actually, it's something like $1,800, while the real Bitcoin is 20 something thousand. So uh, it's a nice balance between having the speed and the low cost, but also not introducing additional security assumptions. I mean, to be exact, you still have to trust the internet computer. So that layer of trust still exists. So you have to trust the Bitcoin network that it's secure, the internet computer that it's secure. I mean, it hasn't been hacked, or there were no hacks on the over the last almost 2 years now, more than 2 years. And then you can actually verify the smart contract yourself. It's open source, and you can see all the Bitcoin coming in and out because it's on the public ledger. So I think that's the short version of what ckBTC is, and I think why I think it's really cool.
All right, awesome. So guys, if you're watching and you do have a question, drop it down. I'm reading the questions. I will read them out loud to Andrew so he can answer them. So Andrew, I have a couple of questions myself, and I know you asked me to compile questions and get all the questions, even if they were outrageous. And I told you I'm the one that's probably going to have all of the outrageous questions.
Good.
So let's start with some of the questions from the community. Now, this is from our Twitter group, and somebody asked, okay, I think CK Bitcoin or ckBTC is a tradable token. When will it be launched, and is it owned by the Dfinity team?
Good question. So ckBTC, the technology itself already launched, but right now currently we still have whitelisted addresses, which means not everyone can mint ckBTC. This is just so we can test it in production and make sure that everything works, and then we open it up to the public, and then anyone can issue or can send Bitcoin to this ckBTC canister and request ckBTC. So right now, I don't think you can buy it anywhere. However, you will be able to, once ckBTC launches, DEXs will support it, because ckBTC is basically an ICRC1 token. And ICRC1 is the internet computer is a fungible token standard. And yeah, once it launches, you can buy it on DEXs, or maybe get it on Discover as an airdrop if you're an active user, or District, or or Plethora. There are a few projects who have some
Okay, okay.
surprises for
Is
you.
this a hint? Is this a hint for our viewers?
It's a little bit of a hint. It's
Okay.
February is going to be a fun month for ckBTC and ICP enthusiasts.
Okay, that's awesome. That's really fantastic. That I'm hearing that. That's good alpha. I'm gonna try and post this on our little thumbnail for the promotion of this video. Okay, so one more question from the community, and it says, okay, so it's from NN Channel, and you kind of already answered this one. It's where to buy ckBTC. So he already answered this one, and the answer for that is it'll be available on DEXs once they adopt it.
And
All right.
let me expand on the answer now that we have this question asked in a different way. You can buy it on DEXs if you have ICP. For example, you will have an ICP Bitcoin ckBTC pair, so you just swap your ICP to Bitcoin, and then you'll have the ckBTC. But also you can send real Bitcoin to this ckBTC canister, and then it will convert it for you to ckBTC. So if you have Bitcoin already, then you can just bring it into the ecosystem, and you don't need to buy it. And then
All
once
right.
you have ckBTC, you can trade it. You can do whatever people do with Bitcoin on the computer. That's up to the developers to decide
All right.
and
Awesome.
make available.
Okay, so one more thing. This question is for me. So you mentioned at the beginning Bitcoin integration, and then you mentioned ckBTC. So my question is this, and the reason why I asked this is on Twitter, somebody posted, they posted the release ckBTC and the logo, and everyone's excited. Of course, I'm excited too, but I always have a little bit of criticism, not FUD, but just criticism. So I said I would
That's
have
good.
liked it to be just named BTC on ICP or something like that, so people don't get confused, because it sounds a lot like it's a bridge token. So my question is this: is ckBTC the exact same thing as Bitcoin integration, or is it a part of Bitcoin integration to simplify the process of Bitcoin being used? Can you kind of explain the difference between Bitcoin integration, ckBTC, or if it's, a layer on top of another layer type of thing?
I think that's a good one, yes. But these things are two different things. So if you want the absolute maximum security that you can have, then you can use native Bitcoin transactions, because the native Bitcoin integration will go through the whole Bitcoin network and Bitcoin miners, and it will be validated by the Bitcoin network, right? But using proof of work. However, if you're okay with having this extra layer of trust, that is having ckBTC instead of Bitcoin, then what you're actually doing is you're moving an ICRC1 token on an ICRC1 ledger on the internet computer. So you take your Bitcoin, you send it to this Canister smart contract, it gives you ckBTC, and then you have ckBTC, and it will always hold your Bitcoin. So they are not the same thing. They are different in many ways. One of them is an internet computer native token, and the other one is just native Bitcoin. So however, you can always exchange one to the other in both ways, and that is provable, and you can verify it through the code.
All right, great, fantastic. So one more question from the community. This is coming from the YouTube live, and it is there a tentative month for the CK Bitcoin launched for the general community?
I'm not sure if we have deadlines necessarily. February will be kind of a rollout of ckBTC. Currently, we have now the mainnet testing. It's working fine, and we will see. I think Kyle Langam already hinted it that some, I also hinted it that some projects may or may not be involved with helping us promote ckBTC and come up with creative ways of using it in their dApps. So because ckBTC is only really useful if you have the dApp supported and then have users being able to send it around. So, for example, currently you can also already send ICP between OpenShift users. Wouldn't it be cool if you could send ckBTC between users? Basically, you can send Bitcoin to your friend for their birthday.
Okay, really good. I have another question that's also from me. So with this whole, people being scared of bridges, and I know I think one hack was $600 million or something like that, and there's all these hacks. What you said happened with Solana. What is the main difference between ckBTC and, for example, the Solana BTC or WBTC? And I kind of know the answer to this already, but I would like if you could answer. What's the main difference that makes it that although there is some sort of level of trust, what makes ckBTC better with less trust that you have to give it to
Exactly.
ckBTC?
Exactly. I begin with this in my initial explanation, but I think it's important to stress this point again and to have it emphasize it, that whenever you exchange Bitcoin to ChainKey Bitcoin, ckBTC, there is no central entity that will do this issuing. For example, in Ethereum, you even have to do KYC if you want to mint wrapped Bitcoin. But it will be done by a smart contract whose code is open source, and the smart contract is not controlled by Dfinity or anyone else. It is controlled by the NNS. So it is every step of the process is 100% decentralized, and all of it lives on their computer. So there's no off-chain component that someone from Dfinity has to still pay the credit card bills for some AWS thing, or have a database that only Dfinity has access to. Everything is controlled by the NNS and also openly verifiable. So I think that's something that no other chain currently does. And that's what makes it so special, that you have a completely decentralized version of a fast and cheap Bitcoin that can be used in smart contracts.
All right, really good. So that's really awesome. We're getting another question on the live. What is the difference between ckBTC and REN BTC?
And that I don't know. What is REN BTC?
I also don't know what it is. REN BTC. All right, so Doc Mai, if you can give us more details on that, I'm also not familiar with that. Okay, so one more thing I'd like to add. Now that we have the ckBTC token, with more technological improvements, for example, let's say something like Entrepose Vault Wallet. Are you familiar with Entrepose Vault Wallet?
A little bit, yes.
Okay. So the wallet has something like you can set a price for an NFT, and somebody can bid for that NFT. Let's say I only have 10 ICP. I bid on an NFT that's 10 ICP, and I can bid on like 20 of them with only 10 ICP, and whichever one takes that bid first, they accept it. Then it automatically cancels my other bids for 10 ICP, and I become the owner of the NFT.
Yep.
Will ckBTC work on something like that? Is that the capability that we will have in the future with ckBTC?
The answer is going to be short and boring. Yes. Anything that you can do with ICP, you will be able to do with ckBTC. Everything.
Wow, that's
And you can
fantastic.
already see how many different ways ICP is being used in different dApps. Imagine you can have ICP continue to be used as it is now, but you have ckBTC next to it. So if someone has, let's say, a lot of Bitcoin that they bought, I don't know, 10 years ago, and
Mhm.
they don't know what to do with it because they can only just do simple transactions, they can bring it into now the ecosystem and do more fun stuff with it, like, again, buying NFTs or bidding on NFTs, for example.
All right, Andrew, anything else you'd like to add? Any closing thoughts or something so we can close the video?
Um, look out for Dfinity's Twitter, and we will keep posting updates on ckBTC and different dApps in the ecosystem. And just crypto is fun as an investment, but I think it's a lot better to interact with the crypto or interact with different dApps on the internet computer. I think the most fun is, I mean, we have so many incredible dApps, and now that they will add now Bitcoin transactions or Bitcoin ckBTC, basically Bitcoin support. It's I think it's incredibly exciting and fun to have to be a part of this. So yeah.
That's fantastic. I can't wait for the day when we have whole financial institutions running with ckBTC, loans, interest, or liquidity, all that stuff. I can't even get into it. I can't even fathom. So, Andrew, thank you for your time. Everybody who's
No
watching, thank
problem.
you for joining. Those that are watching the replay, thank you for coming. Victor ICP Squad, and catch you next time.